Welcome to this segment of growthtofreedom.com. I have a quick question for you. Do you believe that you can build a business that's a force for good, that can have a greater impact, have a greater reach, help more people, as well as be a mentor to mentors, right? To not just be transactional, but to be transformational, if not transcendent in a marketplace? Well, guess what? You're going to meet somebody who's done just that, not once, but twice. And he's someone who still does it today, helping hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands and thousands and thousands of clients all over the world in a unique niche industry in the service business. Him and his partner, Rob, they went out and built a service business to over $30 million a year, over $200 million over a handful of years before selling to a large private equity company, and then started coaching others in the service, HVAC, plumbing, electrical, and more, and showing them literally what they did to build the systems, the processes, and operating system for massive growth and massive impact. He's someone I consider a friend. He's someone we've worked together and had a lot of fun, shattering records and breaking the mold, so to speak, and challenging the status quo in the industry. And someone who leads by example, right? He walks his talk every day. He is someone who values the quality of family life as much or more as his business life. And he doesn't look at them as opposites. He doesn't look at balance. He looks at how do you do both at the same exact time? His name is Mike Agugliaro. And Mike, welcome to the show. How are you, bud?
Good. I am super excited to be here. First, to spend time with you, with a friend of mine, and I consider you such a good friend. And also to spend time with a mentor, because you've mentored me through so many different projects and growth and all kinds of stuff. So I'm honored to be here. And 300 episodes. What a gift to the world of the impact you have made. And I hope everybody that's watching this, look, Dan is like one of those guys, like he does not have to do this. He does it because he wants to impact and change people's lives, not because he has to. So I'm like so honored to be here today.
Thanks, Mike. And I want to dive right. I want to make this about you, right? And I mean, you've got so much wisdom. I mean, I've got your books here, and I'll save that for later. But you've got books, you've got courses, you've published 17 books, or probably now more since the last couple of weeks since we talked. Programs, you've got your amazing events that transform people's lives in so many different ways. So I just want to give people context. Like, why are you doing what you're doing today?
Yeah, well, first off, I've been on my own very, very young, and I learned how to deal with going through struggle, right? And being pretty angry. And then I started a company back in 1994 and thought, look, Dan, I could do it better than my boss is doing it. And I found out that it really wasn't that easy. I mean, we did it wrong for like 10 to 12 years, struggling. I didn't know how to hire. I didn't know how to do marketing. I didn't know how to do anything. And eventually I figured it out. And then once I figured it out, I grew a company from under $1 million to over $32 million a year in less than 10 years. We did 200 million over a 10-year period. I had 200 employees, 165 service vehicles all over the state of New Jersey. And then just 3 years ago, I sold it to a $40 billion private equity company. And what happened is through my journey, Dan, I found out that like I was growing, and I would get together with my friends and be like, hey, how's business going? And they would go, tough to hire people, tough to do this. And it became a point that I was talking to my wife, my beautiful goddess of a wife, Jennifer. We've been together since we're 15 years old. And I was saying, somebody's got to step into this service industry and be brave enough to change the whole industry. We work in over 40 different industries: plumbing, HVAC, restoration, carpet cleaning, the list goes on and on. And I just made it a movement that I'm not going to settle for watching the industry be treated the way it is. I mean, you got the hardest working essential workers in the world that are wondering how they're going to put their kids through college, or telling their kids, well, we can't buy this. I mean, these are the people that keep your lights on, your plumbing working, so you're comfortable and safe. And that's what I did. I made a decision that it was going to be me. I was going to strap on the thickest skin that I've had, and I'm going to go at this thing, and I'm going to create a movement in an industry that was starving for it and need it. And you know what, Dan? Since I had sold the company $32 million company, just like you. I was stepping in to do it, not because I had to, because I wanted to.
Yeah, and you and it shows in your work and in I mean, like I've shared this with so many people. I just want to say it here. Mike puts together and his company put together the highest value programs in the world, anywhere, in any industry. By the way, if you've attended, some of the best events in the world, Tony Robbins experiences, and they're awesome. Go to Mike's and don't be shocked if you walk away going, oh my gosh, this is the best thing times X that I've ever been to in my life. And it will help you personally. It'll help you professionally. It'll help your business. And that's why when Mike and I got a chance to work together, I was like, oh my gosh, what a gold mine that is here. Right. And it's fun when you can work with programs that are delivering such amazing value. Now, before we get into some of the strategy stuff, Mike, the world's changed, right? The world's changed in the last 6-9 months since, COVID hit. And now we've got a change in the administration, if you will. Like, what are some of the big mistakes that you feel you see a lot? Like, I don't know if we call them rookie mistakes or just they're blind spots for people if they just aren't aware of them. You built companies that have grown and sold. There's a lot of, hidden blind spots if you're just not aware. So what do you see or perceive to be like a few of the biggest mistakes that most people are making right now?
Yeah. Well, first off, let's talk about change. We act like it's brand new. Like, things have been changing. Like, I'm what I call level 50. That's a more powerful way to say 50 years old, because it's level 50 is 50 years of wisdom. And so I've been through the Y2K, the 9/11, the recession of 2008. Like things have been changing all the time. It's just changing different. So I think the biggest thing that people are making, not only the mistake today, it's been the mistake. Like, I was saying this a year and a half ago that something is coming in 2020. Now, not because I'm Nostradamus or something. How could you think an election year with Trump and everything that was happening like that, you were not going to enter the octagon? Now, did I predict that there would be a pandemic? No. Did I know that there would be something serious going on? I didn't know if it would be a pandemic or it'd be terrorist attacks or who knows what it was going to be. You knew it was coming. Okay, so now we're at this point today. We're dealing with this COVID thing. We're dealing with people, one industry is making more money than they've ever made in history, and another one is going away. But this has happened all through time. My question for all of you is, are you just staring at today, or are you thinking about the future and tomorrow? And I'm not talking about this big future. I'm talking about strategy. I just watched, and I don't know if you watched it, Dan, this Queen's Gambit thing. I hope it's okay.
Yes, to share that. Absolutely. My wife got me hooked on it.
Forget it. You're hooked, you binge watch it, and when it's over, you're jonesing for something else. And the whole thing is this thinking not one step ahead, not 2, but 10 steps ahead. And this is not something, look, if you don't have the skill set to do it, you surround yourself with the best in the world to do it. And that's something I know I'm passionate about as you, is like, we're not foreigners to investing in really smart people to help us see things, think about things in a way we might not be looking at it right now. But here, let's just put this stake in the ground. If you just adapt or adopt this one thing of thinking, not today, but tomorrow, not New Year's Eve, not waiting. I mean, Dan, okay, what are your resolutions going to be this year? This is the most jacked up, confused year. Like, what are you going to say this year for your resolution? See, I'm telling everybody there is no resolution this year. It's a revelation that has to happen today. It's, I must think ahead and change myself, who I am, my company for tomorrow. And you know what, Dan, just like yourself, you're so smart too. And anybody watching this, I'm not blowing smoke. Dan and I have been friends for a long time. It doesn't matter what industry you were in. If you were strategic, forget about the foo-foo, oh, I pivot and this and that and new norms. No, the fact is you already made good decisions and you didn't have no pain. I didn't consider no suffering pain. All I did was, all that happened for me was, well, let's do it different. And let's do it different quickly. So I hope that's helpful for everybody, you know?
That's amazing, Mike. And, it's funny, the idea of, pivoting and also the new norm and all of these buzzwords that people throw around. And again, change is the one constant thing we have, right? And life and business goes in all these different cycles. And yes, we've talked about, how things were shifting, and you were telling your audience, like, for a year ahead of most people that I know of in your niche, hey, watch out, get yourself set. Here are the things to get in place. So, if people have the optics and they, start to look at, okay, I got to start jumping 9 steps ahead, kind of like a chess player would, like the Queen's Gambit. What are 1 to 3 strategies you see, like, right now, today, and as you describe it, into the future, that, like, if someone's not doing, they're just missing it? What are a couple of those that pop up for you?
Look, I always have to go back, Dan, and you hinted to it a little bit in the beginning. I have to go back to who you are and how you are and what you do. It goes to your identity. And I know a lot of people, they have this thing, it's all about mindset. Well, if it was all about mindset, and I always make this joke so everybody don't get your underwear in an uproar and stuff, like Think and Grow Rich, an amazing book, most read book in the world, I think. One of them, I guess. Why isn't everybody rich? What was maybe it was the wrong book for a lot of you to read. Here's the fact is, number one strategy is you have to pick the identity that you need to become because you want to. And most people are living this fake identity there. When they go out in public, they dress the way they think they need to be. They talk the way they think is acceptable for others. Otherwise, if they don't, they don't fit the sheep world, they fit the wolves, right? It's just like me. I'm a full tattooed guy. I'm a tattoo artist. I tattooed myself, but I did it because I wanted to do it. I didn't do it to impress anybody. I don't hide it, and I remember there was a time, my grandfather was never into this. My mom was like, never show him you have a tattoo, until one day I said, Grandpa, I have tattoos. And he wasn't happy. But what did you want me to be? My identity or your identity? And I'll give you a little deeper thing of this real quick, because I think it has value for everybody. When you look at identity, just look at what you just thought about. Well, as soon as you started watching this, or yesterday, and ask yourself, whose thought is that? Is that your thought or your mom's thought? Your thought or your neighbor's thought? Your thought or your manager's thought? Because when you get down to this, you have 2 identities you probably got to consider smashing into one. You have your business identity. This is your everyday, when you go to your job, your career, what you're doing, how you act, how you behave. And then you have your personal identity. That's who you are on Saturday morning when you get up and you run around, and maybe you got little babies and you're blowing bubbles on their belly. And then there's this disconnect until you collide it and say, you know what? I'm going to build this one identity. I am going to write down who I want to be, how I want to be, where I want to be. And this is not this perfect day exercise, perfect life exercise. This is a you exercise. And I always give people a conversation like this, Dan. I always give them a challenge my instructor gave me. I've been doing martial arts for over 35 years now. And my one instructor says, I'm going to give you the hardest thing you've ever went through in your life. And I'm like, back then I was 19, 20, I'm like, bring it on, right? Like, I'm thinking like, we're going to punch things again and bleed. And he's like, here it is. You're going to stare in the mirror at yourself for 20 minutes. No distractions, no interruptions. Try not to blink, or blink as little as possible. And then I'll see you at class next week. And I'm like, stare in the mirror, big deal. Well, any of you watching this, I challenge you to stare in the mirror for 20 minutes, eyeball to eyeball. You will have every conversation you never thought. You will see exactly who you are. You'll probably scream. You might even cry, because I went through all of that. And at the end of it, I made a decision. I need to change me. This is the number one. And look, growing a company to 32 million, growing CEO Warrior, which is, and I will say it proudly, the top training and implementation organization in the world for service companies, over 40 different industries. I found out you could give people all the marketing you want, all the operational systems. You could give them the golden book to build a company. But if you don't give them the identity it takes to build that, they won't get there. And guess what? The identity changes over time. How do I know? Any of you that have children, That's called forced identity change. When you go from a husband to a father, or just a man to a father, you get what's called forced identity. You now have somebody you would die for, and you're going to work for, and you're going to live for. That's a good example of what it has to be. And if you look at some of the greatest people in the world, famous people in the world, they had forced identity change. Car accident, lost their arms and legs, or born with no arms and legs. That's forced identity. Well, guess what? If you woke up tomorrow and said, let me choose this identity, and I'll give you one more thing, Dan, and I'll hand it over, and I hope this is massive value. Think about a caterpillar. For God's sakes, this thing has to crawl, right? Maybe it hangs in a tree and hopes it doesn't get eaten by a bird. Maybe it's got to crawl across a road and not get run over or pulled apart by a little kid of curiosity. And then this thing one day goes, can you imagine? I'm going to crawl into a cocoon and I'm going to grow a wing outside my body. And even once I grow one wing, I'm going to grow another one. And if that's not good enough, I'm going to break through this shell and watch me. I'm going to fly. But while it's in the cocoon, it's hoping it doesn't get eaten or something. This is the transformation that people should consider right now as soon as possible, is how can you grow these wings and take on this new identity, which means you got to shed fear, shed anxiety. I mean, look at the world today. Talk about this, what's going on. And I hope it's okay to mention this one part. Another one of my friends, Joe Polish, he has this genius recovery. And like, I'm just looking at this addiction thing. This is creating a whole new identity, because now we're allowing you to we're going to force the addiction on you. We're going to make everything legal that we can. This is no good. Consider right after you listen to this, sit down for a minute, get rid of all distractions, step on your phone, whatever you got to do. Say to yourself, who do I want to become right now today? And find whoever's going to help you do it, and just go forward, because it will change your life forever. And I know it because I've done it, and I've managed to stay with my beautiful wife since we're 15. So I didn't figure out everything, but I figured out this part.
And what would it be worth for you to apply what Mike has challenged you to do, the U exercise? What would it be worth for you to recalibrate your identity, to go from caterpillar to transform to butterfly? I dare you. I double dog dare you to take Mike up on his challenge. Now, Mike, if people want to reach you, get connected with your resource, even if they're outside of your industry, outside of the service, I would encourage you to go check out Mike's stuff. It's the best in the world. And you'll find a way, likely, if you've got something going on, especially if you're a business owner, you'll figure out a way to parlay it into your industry, even if you're outside. Where can people go to get in touch and learn more about what you're up to?
Yeah, you could go to CEOwarrior.com and check out what we got going on. But better than that, why don't you find me on Facebook and send me a private message, say hello, and let's become friends. Tell me you did the exercise and you cried and yelled. Tell me what's going on in your life and just connect with me. I'm not looking for you to buy anything from me. Just get connected. And if I could serve you in any way, just raise your hand and say, hey, can you assist me? And maybe I could just be a good ear for some of you. I want all of you. I just wish you the most amazing life you can ever have. And the good news is you can have it right now, today. You just got to go get it.
Go and get it. So I encourage you, take action with what Mike has shared with you today. Tune in on your identity. I get clarity on who do you want to become. Do the mirror exercise. And guess what? If you're having trouble in that 3rd minute, 4th minute, picture Mike over your right shoulder, me over your left, and we're just got our arms around you going, you got this. You got this. You got this, because you do. The whole new life is waiting, of success, of impact, of contribution. Take action, seize the day. And guess what? If you want to come back to this episode and pick up some of the tips that Mike shared with you, make sure to go to growthtofreedom.com/300. That's growthtofreedom.com/300. Our celebration of 300 episodes, 30 years of business, some of the top mentors, teachers, experts, and friends that are here to help you, because you're just one breakthrough away. And I just can't help but think, what does that breakthrough look like if you apply what Mike just showed you and shared with you today? Take action, seize the day. We'll see you on the next segment. on Growth to Freedom.
Thanks for listening to this episode of growthtofreedom.com. Are you struggling to get a steady flow of new clients every day? Or maybe hit a plateau or hit a wall in growing your business? Well, let's help you solve this problem today. Let's review your business and have a conversation. You can do that for free today at breakthroughstrategycall.com. That's breakthroughstrategycall.com. In addition, if you're looking for a simple way to implement some of what we've been talking about in today's episode, I want to encourage you to get our free small business toolkit. You can get that at activate.breakthrough3x.com. That's activate.breakthrough3x.com. If you'd like access to the special resources and all the show notes for this special episode, make sure to visit growthtofreedom.com.